Hello and welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Welcome back. Happy Friday night. So some stuff going on over here. How's it going over at yours? It is great to see you. Sorry to keep you waiting. Um, things are going in the right direction over here. Technology's a bummer. I didn't think we were going to be able to have this show because my computer yesterday and then again today did not turn on. That can't be good, right? I keep thinking it's one of those things that goes away like a toothache or something. And I keep thinking, yeah, maybe it's just like maybe that was just a thing and it doesn't happen again. There's definitely some things going on, but I will stay on top of it. We don't want to lose any of our content. I've got so much stuff on this computer, I can't possibly lose it, right? I have to figure out how to put on my big girl pants and save it. But yeah, struggle times. Got there in the end. Catherine, great to see you. Hello and cheers, my dears, in rainy Southern California. It never rains in Southern California. Sorry. I couldn't resist. It was right there. Great to see you, Doris. Great to see you, Doris. It was great talking to you the other day. Doris has a special need for a Roadrunner. It is a background that's like a blue fade, and I know just what I'm going to do. I dyed about 36 or 38 colors yesterday. So I'm going to do the rest of my dyeing either tomorrow morning. We'll have to see how it goes. You know what tomorrow is? And I don't know if she's on yet. Tomorrow is my mom's birthday. I think it's 77. Can't be, right? She's gorgeous. How is that possible? It's not possible. She's still 32. I mean, come on, she's still 32. That's just what I remember. How old's your mom? 32. God, time goes by so fast, doesn't it? Um, yeah, so wish her, there she is. Wish her an early happy birthday. We got to figure out what time we're going to go out for our traditional sushi meal at our place with our girls. The nicest girls work there. We always like to visit and go for these special occasions. The light is doing something awful to me. I should be on the cover of Time magazine with what it's doing to my neck right now, right? Sorry about that. Let me that's going to make me crazy. I'm going to shift over here. We've got some stuff going on. It has been a real struggle trying to stay in this room with this mantle, but we're here, and I'm not even freezing. Hold on one second. Ooh, trouble. Trouble. There's things moving. Hold on. If you're motion sick, don't look. Okay, let's leave it there. That's at a good distance. If you could only see what I'm doing in here, you'd be like, why are you doing that? Why nothing could be worth it. Being together on Friday is worth it for sure. And here come the happy birthdays, Mom. Good to see that. In fact, it's warm in here. It's really warm. Oh dear, Doris, I'm going to get going on that dyeing because I know just what I want to do and it's going to be perfect. So no worries about that. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm putting together two new Crazy Eights sets. And so the Crazy Eights here, let me show you. I've got them right here. And while I'm up, why don't I fix this stupid thing? There we go. Let's get that out of my face. Too much in my face. Too much. Here, let me bring a few of these over. I'm going to do, well, I'll just bring a couple over. So I've got 8 printed textured materials. So these are 100% wool. These are door wool wools. They are printed, which we say textured, right? And I'm going to do, so for example, these are 2 of them, right? So these are like 9 by, gosh, what would it be? I break 1 yard into quarters and then these go into quarters. That doesn't really make sense, does it? We'll figure it out. I'm going to put, these are the size of the Crazy Eights. I just don't have my ruler anywhere handy. So these are going to be over dyed. There's going to be 8 different patterns. So I think I'm going to do, 8 different textured wools, and I think I'm going to create 2 Crazy Eight sets. So of the Crazy Eight sets, for example, there's going to be 4 different textured patterns, which are a print that are over dyed or modeled or whatever, 4 that are over dyed, and 4 that are either solid or modeled of the same color. So for every printed one with an over dye, there's going to be its corresponding one, and they are married, right? Because it's the same color base, the same dye color. And I think that'll come in really handy for you, particularly those of you who do wide cut and primitive hooking. I think that's going to come in really handy. I know when I'm hooking my stuff for book projects and the magazine, 9 times out of 10, if I'm hooking with wool, I go for a textured wool just because I want the magic of seeing those loops come up and forming this subtle pattern, the nuance you can get with a textured wool over a solid wool. It's when you want it, right? Sometimes I want a solid sweater, sometimes I want a plaid, sometimes I want polka dots, right? I can't be stopped. I want different things at different times. And it's nice to sort of fill the gap with something like this that already has a color relationship to other parts of your project. I think it's going to be great. So for I'm going to do two sets. I know I'm going to call one rum raisin. I don't know why. I see like those brownie wine colors, pecan colors. I think that's good for going into winter. And the other one, the jury's out. If you have a great idea, let me hear it. Maybe like a green set or something, but then maybe pitch pine, something like that. Maybe like greens and blacks. Oh, is pitch pine any good? So it sounds so fragrant, doesn't it? But yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And if they work out well and people want them, then I'll do more of that because it makes sense. I want to have things that make sense that you can use that you go, oh, well, that's something different, right? I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. Everybody's thought of everything, but at least I can make my own color recipes, and those will be a little bit different. That's what's going on in my head, and so much more on a Friday, right? So Doris, I'll be doing your dyeing at the same time that I dye those, and it will be very soon. Judy, great to see you. Happy Friday and cheers, my dears. And Valerie, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. It's great to see you. Thanks for. I got two messages from you. Did you do that thing where you fired off the message before you meant to? Doris, you did that the other day too, didn't you? That's the story of my life, firing off the message before you meant to. And it's awful when it goes out to like for me like 50 people and then it's like, sorry. Um my finger, and that's that hovering over the screen, right? More fun with technology, and it just sends, and it's like, oh my God, oh my God. As long as it's nothing really bad. You can always send mistake emails, joke emails to me. Believe me, I love it. It makes me feel like everybody's real. Diane, great to see you in Canada. Cheers, my dears. Happy Friday night. Myra, cheers, my dears. It's great to see you in Virginia. Great to see you. Karen, great to see you. Oh, cheers, my dears. 70 degrees there today. Clear blue skies in Black Forest, Colorado. Wishing for moisture. So with such different and varied forecasts across the board, right? Oh man, and Mom, you are on in Granby, Connecticut. We spent some nice time together today and together again tonight. We were at the church working on our flats, like our photo things for people to take pictures in front of for the Yuletide Festival. And again, if you are anywhere near me, and I am like outside Hartford, Connecticut, you think you can come to the Yuletide Festival, I definitely need help in the craft rooms with the rag tree and possibly needle felting and some other stuff like that. Definitely could use some help. Goretti, great to see you. It was great talking to you on the phone the other day, too. I got to talk to two buddies this week. Hello in Acton, Ontario. Happy to be here. Happy to have you. Hello to Mike. Sharon, great to see you. I sent you a message. I hope you got it. Great to see you in Eagle Bridge, New York. I was just saying, Sharon, I have to get out there again because of those antique stores. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I know I was just at a different antique sort of hornet's nest in New York last weekend, but um, this for me this time of year, I love antiquing all year, but in the summer and in the spring, it's all about yard sales and flea markets, right? But when we get to like autumn and winter, for me, it's like I got to get to the antique centers that do decorations. First with Halloween and then with like Thanksgiving, Christmas stuff. I just got to see those stalls decorated. Nothing says Merry Christmas to me because I'm a Christmas celebrator than better than like department store windows and antique malls with multi dealers and all of their vignettes, respective vignettes. It's such a lot of fun. So if I head out that way, I'll let you know just in case you and Keely are free. Patricia, great to see you. Special thank you tonight to Danny and Patricia because both of you have recently gone to events with Fiber Arts and Rugs. And Patricia, for you, it was the McGowan Guild show. You sent some beautiful photos and I have them in the show. Really beautiful rugs. Really beautiful. And Danny also went to a fiber thing. You'll see that. That's coming up early in the show with different fiber mediums, right? So different kinds of textile art, all so inspiring, so different. And when I said earlier, nothing new under the sun, that's not true, is it? I mean, that's a quote from the Bible. And in some respects, you sometimes feel like it is true, right? History repeats itself. People do things that reminds you of the last time. Nothing ever changes. You can get into that mindset easy. But at the same time, when you're doing creative work, there is something new under the sun. There's the possibility of something new, or you have to hope that there is. At least when we do our projects, it's maybe not often enough, but it definitely happens from time to time that you do something. You go, "Ooh, did I just invent a technique?" Or I haven't done this before, or this is working like nothing has worked before, or something is new, something has changed, and hopefully for the better. And when that happens, it really fuels your desire and your commitment to do this craft and to keep going, because you can get bored with pulling loops, right? You can get bored with pulling loops, but once in a while something exciting happens, or you find a design, or you make a design that's really new, original, speaks to your heart at that moment. And there's no substitute for that. That's like, what's that thing when you're playing video games, like dopamine or something like that, like in your head, that like your brain goes like, this is the best thing ever. For rug hookers too, when things are going well, that's great. That's why I'm creating the crazy 8 sets that are like four solid colors, or I think they'll be modeled, and then 4 textured, because I feel like that has the possibility to do that for a lot of people. I know it does it for me when I'm hooking. But lots of new things under the sun. And when we go to these fiber festivals, fiber shows, rug hooking shows, you are reminded that there are lots of new things. You see things and you see techniques that you haven't seen before. Luckily, we are here and we have this platform together where we can look and say, ooh, whether you're there, or you could make it to the show or not, you can say, "Oh, I haven't seen that pattern before. I haven't seen that designer before. I haven't ever thought of using those colors together." These are all really positive things because they're fueling something in your head. Maybe 6 months from now or 6 years from now, you come back to the thought and you think, "Now is the time for that." But at least you've got it in your bag of tricks, right? Gathering as much inspiration as you can from all over the place. Patricia, thank you. Danny, thank you. And for everybody that submitted something tonight, thank you so much. We've got some beautiful things in the show tonight. Joyce, cheers, my dears, in Pennsylvania. And Judy, Deanna, how is your dyeing going in the new place? Thank you for asking. Have you had to adjust a lot of recipes? So there's a few things going on right now. I always give you a candid answer, right? There's a few things going on right now. The dyeing is a lot better. So I am now, so just to recap, since I've moved a couple of months ago, this is now well water for me and not um, town water. So that was a difference. And another thing, right? When you change one thing, it's like manageable. When you change two, you're like reinventing the wheel, right? So the well water, plus I'm working in this little breezeway area, which tonight is fine. We put like insulation things over the doors, like flaps. So that's helping a lot. Can't see the bears if they come by tonight, but I will be moving into the basement. And sometimes I'm over in the living room. So I have lots of different places to be, but that also means I'm dying in a different place, and I'm dying with an E here on my potter's bench, and yeah, potter's bench. And those are little electric burners. And I'm used to gas burners in the old house with town water. Now I've got well water and electric burners. So there's a couple of ways that I've combated that. The main thing that has been different, that is a really big deal for me, and I was just chatting. Naomi came over the other day because she ran out of wool, so she popped over here and I gave her some yardage. We help each other out like that. So we were talking about this very thing, and I was telling her about this problem, and she said, "Oh Christ, the well water and that can be very, very different." I said, "No kidding. That's like, that's where I'm at." And so I said to her, the main thing that I noticed about the well water is, and I don't know how this works, right? I don't know what chemicals are in it, what chemicals are not. I'm thinking there's no chlorine in there anymore, which I liked for my teeth. Um, and God knows what else. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I'd have to really read up on it to be able to have an opinion. But I do know that with well water, at least for me here, when I put my door wool into the water, I have, number one, and this is a good thing, with Synthropol in there, same as always. Synthropol, same as always. Tap water, but well, it soaks in immediately. It's like it used to be that I'd be soaking in Synthropol for like an hour, 2 hours, just to be sure that the wool was fully saturated. Not anymore. Same amount of Synthropol, same water, bucket of water. I'm thinking of the Wonder Twin powers. Activate, bucket of water, drop of Synthropol. Remember that TV cartoon? In any case, it saturates immediately, like immediately. And it saturates so quick. And that's a gift, right? Because it's like, I'm ready. I don't want to stand around watching paint dry, too many things going on. So I'm happy about the saturates immediately thing. But the way that I found that out was one night I had a ton of dyeing to do. And so I put the wool in the water and I went to bed. And I thought when I wake up, there's a lot, but it should all be pretty saturated by then. I woke up and the wool was like smelly, like it was gross. It had like gone off because the well water, it can't sit in it. It has to go in and come right out. So that's different. And maybe you don't have that same experience, and maybe water is different from town to town, but it took me one day to figure that out. That's a really bad problem. So it's not a problem anymore because I know I have to work a lot faster. So that's a change. I realized the other problem was the electric burners don't get as hot as I like. So not everybody likes to have their heat up super high, and you don't need the heat to be boiling for the colors to set, right? You do need heat for your chemical dyes to set, but you don't need it to be boiling. I tend to put it pretty close to boiling because I like to make my wool a little bit fuller. So, I use this, I'm still using the door wool. I know which bolt, which kind I use. All of us use different numbers of wool. There's so many different kinds. But I know which one I use. I know how it performs. I like it to get warm. And I think that my wool in general is a little bit thicker than other people's from what I've seen. And who cares, right? It's all wool. It's all 100%. It's all great. It all works great. I like mine a little bit on the fuzzy side, not too thick, right? Not so thick that it is a different problem. So for that, I need a little extra heat. So what I've been doing, to make a long story short, too late, is I'm turning on my burners in here, but I start by heating the water. This sounds so overcomplicated. I start by heating the water on the kitchen stove. I just don't bring dyes in there because that's how I crapped up our last kitchen in the old house. So no dyes in there. But I heat the water in there and then I just walk down these 4 steps. Has she fallen yet? Not yet. Dum dum dum. And then I put it on these burners, like fired up, and because those electric burners cannot keep the water that as hot as I want it. And when I see that the water isn't exhausting, when the dye is not exhausting, by exhausting I mean all of that dye that I've measured and put in, the water should be clear, like sooner rather than later because it's attaching to the wool. And if it's not exhausting, then there's a heat problem or a citric acid problem. So sometimes I put a little more citric acid in and I stir it, right? Good agitation and it attaches and we're great. Sometimes it doesn't and I think the dang water's not hot enough. And then I have the little kettle that I bought, little electric kettle. Now that thing works fast. That works as fast as the water in this house. So then I get the electric kettle, plug it in, and I top up all of the pans. And that is the way, that's probably more information than you needed to know, but that is the way to combat all of those problems in my mind. So we all have different problems, but if anything that I just mentioned, it seems like one of your problems or you're thinking, uh-oh, spaghetti-o, I think that is my problem. I just didn't realize it. Those are some fixes for some easy problems, right? If everything in life was fixed that easily. One of the problems in life that is not fixed that easily is that with all the comings and goings these days, wool is not moving and it is not arriving. And the prices are going up. I have not put my prices up, right? Because we are all in the same boat. So as long as I can keep things the way they are, I've been getting more sales. I'm not touching anything right now. I'm leaving it where it is. I know everybody is in the same boat. So I don't want to make it any worse. The biggest problem is that the wool is not moving. So I have a little bit of wool left. I'm ready for some more wool from Door and it ain't coming. I mean, it's not there. They hope they have it soon. This is another big problem. So I need to really think about this because I'm looking at all kinds of options for supplies. The one thing that I don't want to deal with in my life at this point, right, is sitting on my hands waiting for stuff when I've got orders and I'm ready to go. So feel free always to talk to me, to send me messages here, to send me private emails. If you have great ideas for me and you're thinking, well, I know somebody gets this there and whatever, have you thought of this? Do you know this? Don't assume I do, right? I'm just one person this is a one person business. Don't assume I know anything. But I am getting a little bit tired of not being able to get stuff when I need it. And I don't mean that in a princess way. I mean that in a business way. I like to be nice, and I like to, give everybody a hot minute with everything. But the, fact of the matter is things are not moving as quickly, easily, as they used to. And before it becomes a problem, I want to figure out what to do, because with a small business, I can't afford to, when the wool comes in, buy like pallets of wool, right? I can't. Cushing can, but I can't. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's where things stand right now. I'm still stocked up with everything, but in other news, I am trying a new linen. And I mentioned before, the reason I'm trying a new linen is because Dora is discontinuing the bleached primitive. The bleached primitive, I still have some of it, so I'm still using it. I haven't got the new bolt yet. But the bleached primitive has been my favorite because I often paint on it, number one, and it just shows up easily and well on white like a canvas. But the other reason is because I struggle so much with glasses, as you know, different ones at different times. This is different than this, is different than this, is different than that. And with the white, I feel like I could just see it better. So they're discontinuing that white primitive. And I find that really disappointing. It was the most expensive because it was basically the primitive, but bleached. So it had an extra thing done to it, which of course you pay for. So I'm going to try a new company. I will tell you all about it as soon as it arrived. I ordered it yesterday. It was shipped yesterday. Um, Looks beautiful. I tested out the sample they sent me. They called me. They know that I'm a small fish, but they seemed excited to work together. So I will let you know how that goes. But it might be that I switch out the linen, and if I do, I feel that it'll be very dependable. Getting it will be dependable, and what we want is to have supplies when people buy stuff, right? So I will keep you updated on all that great stuff. I love sharing that kind of information too, which probably isn't appropriate, but who's going to stop me, right? All righty. So Patricia's on and she said, hello, everyone from Gray, Binghamton, New York. I'm sorry. It is some gloomy times, isn't it? Linda, oh, Gail, great to see you in Australia. Good morning, you lovely person yourself. And Linda, be great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in New Jersey. It's great to see you. Sharon says, happy birthday, Helen. Joyce, cheers from Pennsylvania. And here I am. Now I'm caught up. All the happy birthdays to my sweet mama. Yeah, 77. Holy, you know what? Uh-huh. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Oh, that makes me happy. Thank you so much. I know, Valerie. Don't worry about it. You know what? If you can send me 10 things in a row, I'll figure it out. I will figure it out, really. I always do. It's always fine. Sharon says, receive my rug cooking magazine. So inspired to make hooked ornaments. I haven't received it yet. How strange. Gosh. Oh, I'd love to see it to make ornaments. Oh, yeah. No, that sounds really good, doesn't it? In fact, there is something on ornaments in tonight's episode, so we can look at that together too. Karen says, we have well water and love it. Lots of wonderful natural minerals. That's fantastic, Karen. You might have sulfur if it's smelly. No, it's not at all. No, me neither. I know what you mean though, because sometimes when we go on vacation places, we'll be like at a hotel, and I'll just automatically. I'm a faucet drinker, right? There's no way buying like a bottle of like a glass bottle of water, right? I'm just a faucet drinker. So it is weird when you're like really thirsty and you fill up a glass and you drink it, and it's like. And I can think of all of the hotels in my life that we go to like on a regular basis that the water is super smelly. And it's some of my favorite ones, and it's some really nice ones, but there's nothing you can do if it has that sulfur. It's safe to drink, right? But you totally smell like the eggs, right? I know exactly what you mean. I'm glad that you said that though. That makes me feel good. Makes me feel very natural. It's very good. Ruth, great to see you. You just got home from your granddaughter's birthday party. It was a big birthday weekend. Happy birthday to your granddaughter. That is great. Sounds like you are all busy this weekend. I hope you've got some great plans going on. So many things going on here too. We have so many projects that are happening, right? So let's get started with looking at some of these great gallery items that you all sent in. And as the show goes on, I'll tell you about some other projects that we've got going and some things that I've thought of because we really are in great shape right now. I have to say a huge thank you. I want you all to remember because it's easy. This is the hardest time of year. It's easy to remember, to forget that magpie times will come out in the spring. So we will need great spring content. And the theme is garden party, but also baby animals, all things springtime, right? Anything flowering, anything related to spring. We need items for the gallery section, but we also need people to take on articles. Who's going to do an article this time about a brick and mortar store that has some kind of textile? Anybody feel like doing that? Anybody got a great feature article, whether it's 2 pages or, 10 pages? If it's great, right? If it's great content, we can use it. So have you got a spring pattern that you're willing to donate so that other people can do that too? We don't do any advertising in Magpie Times. Everything that's there is something that somebody gave, right? That's the only way that we can make this work without half the magazine being advertising. Be thinking about that. I know we're going into the holidays. It's hard to switch gears and think about another season, but that is going to creep up on us, right? So we'll just remember that. The first sort of entry I have is from Laani Uunila. I hope I said that right, Laani. We've been going back and forth. Laani sent some stuff in. We've been chatting a lot on email. Now, so Laani does work that is all from clothing, right? Like just all recycled stuff. Super green hooker. Laani's in Canada. She's of Finnish heritage, and there's been lots for us to talk about because she wrote and said, I have some ideas for the laundry line hooking book, which is the upcoming book that you are welcome to submit to too, that is about literally cutting up your clothes and hooking with them, right? So not hooking with wool and putting like a little bit of sweater and just hooking with clothes, right? To make the point that you don't have to buy a lot of expensive stuff. You can use what I'm looking at 2 bags of clothes that are going to go to Goodwill, but I've already combed them and they're not stuff that I want to use for hooking in there. It's making the point that you can use stuff that you already have to do this craft, right? Materials wise. So Laani is that kind of a hooker, like that kind of old time hooker, and that is really coming back into style again. Right? People's sort of sensibilities are saying like, that's a good idea. Let me reuse the crap that I already have instead of going and buying stuff. It's not for everybody, right? But some people love this type of hooking. Laani is hardcore this type of hooker, and so this is really interesting to me. So I'm like attaching, and so she sent like a whole chapter for the laundry line book with a bunch of projects in it, including I think including the first one because she said you could use and why don't you use an image as an advertisement to show people and remind people about the laundry line book. So let me show you the first image of the night, and oh, that would be great. That would be great, Ruth. The first, oh my gosh, wait a minute, nothing's showing. Hang on, wait a minute, something's wrong. Oh boy, here's Teddy. No, wait a minute, why is that not? Please don't start this. Oh, you know what? Damn it. Oh, you know what? I bet because I used it for the thumbnail. I didn't realize that. That was a first for me. I adjusted it after I. So you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm not giving up. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I get so I get so tired from life, stuff like this. As soon as I looked at it, I thought, I bet because I edited it after I put it into the Streamlabs, I bet the reformatting was enough to really screw it up. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. It won't be the same, but it's also the thumbnail for tonight. So you've seen the image, but I just want to remind you what it looks like. Let me just see if I can come down here. She gave me some beautiful content, a beautiful handwritten part, which of course you don't, I think this might be it. It might not be it. Um, she does a lot of beautiful nature scenes from traveling, from her adventures. And oh God, I can't show you that one. Some of these images, I think this is it. are some of like the most cool and unusual original images I've seen yet. So I want to save some of them. I just want to show you this one because it's the thumbnail. So I'm sorry, Laani, I'm so sorry about the quality, me being stupid like this, but now I know I cannot edit it after it's in the slideshow. It's coming up very blue on my monitor. Of course, there is a lot of blue, right? There's water and there's sky. It's not quite as blue as this. Make sure that you go back to the thumbnail or you look at it one more time to do it justice, because it is a beautiful piece that is completely made of like t-shirts and cut up clothing. Just a reminder, right? So Laani wrote, I found your pitch for the laundry line book inspiring, and I'm sure others have too. I'm happy if you want to use one of my photos of clothing for inspiration to prompt other submissions. I know that you have followers that do amazing pieces with used clothing, etc. This is the latest used clothing piece I mentioned in my last email. It is another of the, now I'm going to screw this up, so help me out. Tuneda, um, or Tunede, Great Slave Lake, right? So, so Laani does a lot of traveling and taking pictures, and then she works off her pictures, cuts up her clothes, and hooks with that. And there are some beautiful pieces that are coming out of this. And it is beautiful, Danny. It is, you know, and it's so full circle, the idea of having an adventure or doing something, whether it's something outdoors or you're just half asleep and you have one of these weird lucid dreams and you think, oh, dang it, that was really something, right? You have like an Alice in Wonderland and you think, oh, that's really something. I'm going to hook up a white rabbit right now. Doesn't matter where it comes from, but like if it comes from you and then you're able to sort of transpose it onto your backing one way or the other, and then you just go, oh, there it is. There's that shirt that has been offending me lately. It's got plenty of holes. That's going right in right now. That's a great way to work. That's a good seat of the pants way to work. And it's a good way to use up everything. So that's what the laundry line book is about. And Laani's right. Just a reminder, if you're thinking about it, just remember either you can do your own designs. A lot of submissions so far, I think all of the submissions so far have been people's own designs. But if you're interested in doing it and you're thinking, I have tons of clothing, I could do that, but I'm not comfortable designing, just send me a message and I will work with you until we have a design that you are happy with, right? I don't mind doing that. It is my pleasure and my privilege to work on designs and work on something that would be special for you, if you want to participate in one of these projects, right? That is the main thing. Don't let the fact that you don't like designing stop you from participating in one of these projects, because it feels great to see your work in print, right? It always does. So thank you for the reminder, Laani, and thank you for all the beautiful pieces that you have sent. And we will look forward to more and more on that later, because we're brainstorming another idea. So let me get some traction on tonight's episode, and then I'm going to throw another idea at you. Now, there we go. I knew something was going to work tonight. Valerie, you were working on ornaments. So I might not have these two emails in the right order, but we'll figure it out. So Valerie says, I am very fortunate to have a spare bedroom that doubles as my studio. You are. I have. So you're not in a breezeway right now, are you? I have been hooking like mad. Honestly, my hand is tired. And what a mess. I'm retiring mid-December as a dental hygienist in a large practice. As a parting Christmas gift, I decided to hook ornaments, 40 ornaments. I use white burlap as my backing and thrifted wools, mostly skirts and sweaters. Oh, this is so great, Valerie. This time I used some t-shirt yarn, thrifted as well. Now, Valerie, can you put this into the laundry line book? I mean, this is a great project for the laundry line book. Think about it. This could be really, really good. Your 40 ornaments for your soon-to-be ex-co-workers. I bet that feels great. This time I used, now to cut out and press with fusible web to a backing. Merry hooking Christmas. This is why, and then you wrote, this is why I don't make things to sell. I'd have to make hundreds. Each 5-inch ornament or coaster takes about an hour. It is fun as each motif I designed works up with different colors and materials. A few tips I've learned today. Steam is hot. Oh no. Did you burn yourself? Turned it off my iron and used a spray. Turned off my iron, used a spray bottle. Oh, turned it off. So you turned the steam feature off of the iron, and you just went with the spray bottle to dampen it up a bit. I think that sounds great. Steam is hellishly hot, isn't it? Also, some white of the background burlap peeked through, and a Sharpie marker blended that out nicely. The mess in the studio continues. So I want to go back to that, but I want to show you. So a little bit of the backing fabric being white. Oh, Ryan, great to see you. Happy Friday night. Um, you know what? Great solution. Because what is the most important thing about being a rug hooker? What is the one thing, and we say this all the time, that you should have as a rug hooker that will make your life easier? Is it innate talent? No. Is it a huge stash of supplies? No. Is it the most expensive equipment that money can buy? No. Is it a certification or having had the best teacher? No. It is confidence. Just confidence. You know that you're a problem solver, whether you like it or not, right? We have got when you get to a certain age, you realize I can solve problems. I don't like problems, but I can solve problems. And since that's the case, when things don't go quite right, you've got your white backing, it's showing a little, problem solved, right? Here comes the red Sharpie. Fa la 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 la, the problem is solved. It's all over. Moving right along, right? These are so pretty. Let me come back to oh, Karen said, my husband just handed over a couple more of his beloved. Oh, he does love his tie-dye t-shirts, doesn't he? But you know what? When I think of B. Dale, I do think about tie-dye t-shirts, right? That is so him. But you know, tie-dye t-shirts, they hook up so well. So pretty. And you know what else you can do with tie-dye t-shirts? Just saying, because tie-dye t-shirts tend to be dyed in really bright colors. That is kind of the look, right? But so that is the look because traditionally like tie dyes, Summer of Love, they're all done in this specific color palette, colors that are available, and they sort of commercial colors, typically like Rit, right? Rit does kits, and other companies do kits for tie-dye t-shirts, and so people make tie-dye t-shirts at home, but there's certain colors in the kit, and those are the colors you get. And yeah, sometimes they blend and they make a funky orange or a weird rusty brown, and that's awesome. But sometimes they don't, and you end up with a lot of brights. You can just over dye them too, right? It just saying, if you end up with a lot of tie-dye t-shirts, which I have over the years with my kids, specifically Jocelyn wanting to I, I would say tie-dye, but I guess I really mean make a mess. Just make a mess outside coloring shirts. And then if we decide that we don't really like them and we're not going to wear them, I have a lot of shirts that are like fluorescent yellow, fluorescent green, and fluorescent blue. But they can be over dyed with your chemical dyes. You can either try Rit dye, just choose a color to marry them all together, choose one color, put the shirt in the pot, right, and just go for it. Or try your Cushings or your Prochems or your Dharmas, and it will change the color. Without a doubt, it'll change the color. So always know, even with stuff like that, if you're looking at stuff that you might throw out, and you don't mind dyeing a one pot dye, right? Just a one pot dye. Because with a tie dye t-shirt, if you choose a color, for example, brick, right? And then you put a tie dye t-shirt in brick, that is going to come up all kinds of beautiful autumny and brown type colors, right? It's not going to be bright at all anymore. So something to think about before and I don't mean necessarily Karen, but bright tie dye does hook up to still look like tie dye, but you can alter it to get incredible color variation as well. Something to think about. I also have to say, Valerie, I didn't know that you were a dental hygienist, because Algett, Algatt, psycho memory, right? Is a new hooker. And I brought her rug because somebody wasn't able to send their rug at the last minute for solder. I needed another big rug that was like a specific size for their display. And I took Lars' first ever rug, which was Basket of Boo, which is a pumpkin basket motif that will appear in the Mystic Carpet book. and it was her first rug. And she was also a dental hygienist. And I'm sure I said this before, but I think it's interesting. And I said this in my talk at Solder. It was interesting because she said, even though that was her first project and it came out great, you'll see it in Mystic Carpet. You might have seen it in the video of Solder. She said that what was so interesting for her was starting this craft for the first time. As soon as she leaned, she's also a dental hygienist. As soon as she leaned over her frame, I think she also just retired. She said it was so familiar. It was just like leaning over someone's face, right? Like she's used to leaning over people's faces. She's used to leaning over and looking down. And she said it was so sort of second nature. Like it just came so easily to her. The posture, the way to hold your body, right? Because some people are like, do I do this? And but for someone who's used to just to hands on it, she said it was just easy. I just sat down and did it. And she's like, it's a breeze. It's my thing. So I thought that was interesting because it showed the sort of crossover between life and crafts, and probably so many reasons why we choose the crafts that we choose because of the kind of people we are. We're rug hookers. We're pack rats. We're little piggies, right? We want to keep everything. We want to buy everything, hold on to everything, keep everything. You might want to keep it organized, but you probably want lots of it, right? Lots is better than some, and all is even better than lots. But you tend to choose the craft that's best for your personality and for the way that you live, right? So, like, when my kids were young, I stopped doing stained glass, right? Because I thought maybe it wasn't a good thing if they were crawling around and found glass on the floor and thought it was a nice snack, right? So you make modifications to your life based on what's going on around you and what your house is like and where your studio space is and all of this. But even one's job can really affect um, your success with how it goes in this craft. I think that's so interesting. I heard a noise. I think that's so interesting. uh, oh, creative, make do-itiveness, absolutely. And Gail says, not to give a damn what mess you have from our cook. That's true. I mean, what can you do? What can you do? I was foolish. It was a foolish and quaint thought of mine that, I mean, I'm just looking around now. It's like, unbelievable. Like it's like we moved in 10 years ago and I've had 10 years to make this kind of pigsty happen. No, it's only been like a month or two. It's hard to keep it together, and it's hard to lose momentum. And I'm gonna say something enabling, but when you're going hot on a project and you run into your studio and you kick up a huge mess looking for something, and you're like, finally, here it is, the last thing that my hand touched. And are you really going to stop, right? And you finally found it, right? And your project is waiting on the couch, and so is your movie. Are you really going to stop, like, to put everything back? I mean, maybe you are. Maybe you are. I mean, I know myself. I know I'm not. But I'll do that 20 more times before I actually clean all the stuff up. That's the problem. We're all different in that way. But I agree with you, Gail. Who cares, right? Valerie says, same muscle memory. I started hooking 30 years ago, but had to put it aside for 2 years ago. The repetitive stress was too much for me. Yeah, and remember, I hear that. Remember, there's so many things you can do in the meantime. You could switch to punch or mini punch being the least, but still, right? Still same hand, same wrist. You can move to that. You could just take some time off. You could practice dyeing, right? Dyeing wool. Um, you could try other forms like latch, doing latch, something like that. You could use your latch hook to do loops rather than knotted latch, right? I have videos on all this stuff. There's so many other forms that you might go to, and sometimes it's just the right time to take a break and look at books and draw sketches and get inspiration. And yeah, sometimes you are the driver and sometimes you're the passenger, right? And yeah, you have to listen to your body. Ryan says, shuttle punch, get that upper arm workout. Oh my God, Ryan, you are. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what your upper arm looks like. Your upper arm is probably like, you put like a grown person on it, and and like flex, and they would like go through the ceiling. The size of the projects that you do, I can't imagine. I do think of that sometimes. I think of you sometimes when I'm working on punching stuff and like really bigger projects, and I think, how does Ryan do this? Because nobody else is doing projects of this scale. Joy, great to see you. Happy Friday. You made it to Friday. So that is so fun and interesting. Now, Valerie, let's look one more time at the ornaments because, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's like it's so nobody can make money doing this, right? You just can't. But it is such a joy, right? Come on, it's such a joy. It is such a joy, and it's such a gift to be able to share something that you're good at and something that you love with someone else. I still believe that the best gifts are gifts that you want to give because you think that thing is perfect for that person. Hey, if it's not, that's kind of on them. But if in your heart you think, "Oh, this reindeer is perfect for this friend, this gingerbread man, it's going to be good for this friend." That is the best kind of gift. Something homemade like this. There's nothing better than this. I think these are so beautiful. I think it is ambitious, but you've got one foot out the door and the other on a banana peel. And it's a good time to do something nice like this, isn't it? And Valerie, they came out so beautifully. I like all of your designs. Santa looks like he was a toughie. He is so cute, that little muffin, and he's got a busy background behind him, but he really stands out. That's a great design. That's a really great design. I really like that. Sharon says they are so cute. They really are so cute. And thank you for telling us about the red Sharpie, honestly, because stuff like that, unless someone says to you, um, this might happen, think about this is a solution. If somebody could be completely defeated by something like the backing fabric showing, I mean, it could be like the straw that broke the camel's back. Depends on where your brain is at this point in the project, where you might go, "Oh, screw it! I knew I was going to screw this up. I hate myself. I can't do anything." If you can back up out of that and instead go, "Wait a minute, where's the red Sharpie? I think I got a red Sharpie somewhere. Um, Pretty sure they're for sale, even if I can't find one." This is a great solution. So thank you for showing these beautiful pieces, and also thank you for showing the solution to a problem that we have all had. My mom says, "I love those ornaments. I can't imagine anyone not loving to receive one as a gift." So charming. They are so super, super charming. Danny, you had a great adventure. I'm going to start first. Let me start um, with your message. Thank you so much. It is great to hear from you, and thank you for sending so much beautiful work. I can't wait to go through these. So I haven't read this yet. Let me read through first. I just do cut and paste in the day, and I couldn't turn my computer on last night, and I thought we weren't going to have a show today because I got home from a meeting at the church. It was like our monthly associates meeting, and I couldn't turn the computer on. And I thought this is my only chance to start working on gallery night before today, which is like always Friday's always a grand slam. And I thought we're not gonna be able to run a show, so I kind of cut and pasted everything more than usual. And luckily the computer went on. We're able to have a show, and you all sent me such beautiful things. Thank you that it all worked out. So Danny, you wrote, and I hope I have this in the right order. I'm excited to see everyone's work for gallery night. I've been working on my Halloween house. That's right, your Halloween house. I remember there was an issue like with the door or the window or something with the you were doing it with punch, right? And there was something with the stripes because on the working side, I remember it looked perfect, but then when you flipped it over, it looked a bit more unfocused, right? I remember. Cheryl, great to see you. Cheers, my dears. I like that little red wine glass you got there. Um, okay, so you've been working on your Halloween house, and you're so grateful for all the suggestions. That's right. There were lots of ideas. I've been filling in the more sparse areas. That was it. That we all thought you just needed more loops because they weren't supporting each other well enough to get that detail. More loops, more detail, right? And of course, it's so easy with a punch needle, whether you're doing mini punch, which is also called Russian punch, or you're doing traditional punch, which is also called Oxford punch. Either way, it's very easy if you're a puncher, to pop out loops by hitting the same one, right? And when you hit the same one, you pop it out. And then you've got like it's twice as long on the front, and you need to clip it, and then you need to fill the space. So there, it is such a it's a practice thing. getting in enough loops that you get the maximum amount of detail without packing it to the extent that you hit the same spots multiple times and knock out existing loops. If you're a puncher, you know exactly what I mean. It's such a pain. So you're filling out the more sparse areas with a hook. That's perfect. Because then you flip it over, you see where there's room, right? Checking the dog for ticks, right? You're looking in between and you're seeing where there's room, and then you're just pulling up with a hook, which is even better because then there's no chance of pulling out existing loops. You're not just randomly stabbing at stuff. That's a great idea. Areas with the hook, since it's difficult to tell where more is needed from the back. Absolutely. I bought a smaller punch needle and it's so much easier. Oh, I'm so glad. Glad I didn't continue to torture myself. Technical, that was a technical problem for sure. And I wish I would have shown that first. I think we're going to get to that. I'm showing some other stuff first. So we'll look for that. I knew I had them in the wrong order. I'm sorry. I also wanted to share some photos I took at a few local events. My friend and I went to the History Center a few weeks ago for their Fall Fest. Oh, how fun is that? Danny, remind me, what part of the country are you? One of the displays was work from members of the Zumbro River Fiber Arts Guild. Ooh, that's cool. You know what I just realized, Danny? All of us, if some of our guilds were called Fiber Arts Guilds, there'd be more of us, wouldn't there? That seems like a really easy way to get more people into a guild is if you, instead of say rug hooking guild, you say fiber arts guild, because then you get rug hookers and everybody else. Okay. I just feel like that was a brainwave. Paula, hello, it's great to see you. It is rainy in California. Catherine reported that earlier. It is rainy in Southern California. It's almost unbelievable. Mythic event, and yet it is. I'm sorry, but happy Friday. So, Danny says, I was absolutely floored by the amount of skill present in this display. And I'll have to send a follow-up email with more photos. Each piece was astounding. This weekend, I went to a textile show out on by the same guild. Okay, well, this is a busy guild. It was mostly yarn sellers, but there was also crochet, needle felted items, and handmade clothes. Oh, how pretty is that? I hope I can get a booth next year and share some rugs. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Oh, that's a great idea too, getting a booth there, because sometimes those places, the booths are really reasonable too. I think that's a great idea. I love that. Um, yeah, yeah. We need to represent more in general. But anyway, let's look at the work of these Zumbro River Fiber Arts Guild. So I think this is one of the pieces. This is, and I'll see if I can make the piece bigger so we can look at that tag too. But I just want to look at it first because without seeing the tag, maybe you can see the tag because I think it's on your screen bigger. This looks like a wet felted piece to me, which is so beautiful. It looks like a wet felted piece, probably on felt, wool felt. It looks thick, right? The base looks thick and with curls, right? And it looks like the curls are, everything is needle felted. So this would be a two process thing, doing the wet felting and then doing the stabby needle felting. I don't I don't know enough about needle felting to know for sure, but if you look at the difference in technique between, for example, the eyeballs, which are white with the little black pupil or whatever, the black iris, and then the curls above the head, that seems to me to be two different techniques. The eyes seem to be straight on needle felting, right? Just lots and lots and lots of stabs. Whereas the wool, right, the curls, the body of the sheep, that would have to be done differently with a lighter hand, not as aggressive, or those curls would kind of disappear, right? So some of the curls that are in the background, they have not completely disappeared, but you can see that they have been worked much more into the backing material, still wool. But the really curly ones are the ones on the little forehead. I would be so curious to see somebody making this because I would love to see all of it has to get attached, right? Here's your backing fabric. It's ready to go. Get stabbing. What do I do next? Well, you stab. But it would be curious. I would love to see a piece that has multiple techniques like this to see how much stabbing and how how when you do needle felting, you can either use the multi needle, which sometimes has like 8 or 12 individual needles on it, or you can use a single needle, and the single needles come in different sizes. So when you become more experienced, and I'm not super experienced, but I'm experienced enough to know different needles for different moments, right? And same as with us as rug hookers, right? Different tools for different moments, different materials for different moments. But this is a piece because it's a very simple piece. I'm just going to see if I can stretch it so we can see the artist. I'd be so curious to be looking over someone's shoulder doing this to see how they handle those different areas differently, because really curls are Carolyn. Oh, I can't see it. Maybe somebody can see it. Wool felted 100% wool. Brannis, something like that. Barnes. Beautiful piece. Absolutely beautiful piece. It's a great inspiration piece. I love seeing sheep always, and I love seeing a circle sheep on a circle backing. I think that is very clever. Here's the Halloween piece. Okay, good. I meant to put this first, and I screwed that up. You killed it. I perfectly remember now. It was like that door, like the grate that comes down in front of the castle, and it was colorful, but we weren't getting the sense that there was a grid happening. And Wolf felted Rita. Great to see you. Happy Friday night, my love. And now you've done it. And that's all it was, as simple as that. It was just a question of getting more loops in. The more you can get so many loops in that your piece starts to buckle, right? Because you've packed it too much. Yeah, yeah, it is wet felted. But what about the curls, Rita? How do they get the curls? Because the curls aren't. Oh, Barnes. Barsness. Thank you so much, Karen. Yeah, that's an unusual name. I'm not surprised I didn't get that. It didn't roll off the tongue, that's for sure. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Rita, do you think that they wet felted the? I mean, I guess my question is, the curls are still completely intact. Like they still look like shaggy sheep's curls straight off the sheep. Um, are they just are they just stabbing them less so it's just enough to attach? How are they preserving that lustrous curl quality, and it's not getting beat down and kind of embedded and embossed into the wool backing? You know what I mean? I'm probably not describing that well. Maybe, oh, definitely, definitely felting needles. I just wondered what the technique looked like, right? Like how much one needs to attach a few curls. Because at these fiber festivals, you see curls a lot. Curls are very inexpensive. Dyed curls, baskets of dyed curls, and they typically give you like a Ziploc bag, and it's like $3 to fill the bag. And I'm thinking, oh, I'll take 20 bags. But then I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do with the curls? Because for hookers, we can hook with it, and you still get more texture than you would with something else, but you're not keeping that lustrous, perfect coiling quality of the curl. You know what I mean? But with this technique, with the needle felting, it does maintain the look of actual and integrity of actual sheep curls. And we know that we can needle felt onto rug hooking backing. We know that we can do that. So it could be that you could incorporate something like curls, not hooking them, but needle felting them onto your rug hooked piece. That seems like it would work. Doesn't take much agitation with curls. I guess when it's attached, like when it's not fallen off anymore and you feel secure that it is secure, I guess you're good, right? Karen says, when I attached the curls, oh, that's right, on your March Lion, I just felted them on the top part of each curl. Thank you. That's exactly what I was wondering. I remember March Lion. Yeah, so that makes sense. So um, you just like secured it like a little staple at the top, just some stabs until you felt it was good. And yeah, because that is very high relief, that piece. Great. Interesting, because I have not done this technique, and some of you have, so it's great to share. Danny, I'm so glad that this worked out. You must be so pleased. because you this really turned around. It was really driving you crazy, and you were kind of at the end of your sense of humor with this project. I think that it you were not getting the definition that you wanted, and you were doing everything right. Punches worked in reverse, so sometimes there is a bit of a disappointment when you flip it over. But you have righted that for sure, and it is looking great. Let me just read these. I have to remember we're on number 29. Judy says, I think the locks on the body are lightly wet felted, but those loose ones on the top of the head are needle felted. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Just on top to attach them. Yep. They fall loose across the forehead. This is really good information. This is great technical information. I'm speaking to all of you out there. Did you buy a Ziploc bag full of colorful curls at the Fiber Festival this year? And are you thinking, what am I going to do with all those curls? We just learned exactly what to do with them. Two different techniques. Thank you so much to both of you. Yeah, Danny, this came out great. Problem solved, right? And moving right along. Problem solved and moving right along. That's the best feeling in the world, isn't it? So this is the show, and I'll expand this a little bit. This is the Zumbro River Fiber Arts Guild, and this is at like the Historical Center or the Historical Society, or something. And absolutely beautiful pieces. I'll stretch this a little bit. Let me stretch it now, and then we can move around. So hang on, I'm going to take you for a ride. There's a few things going in here that I was really excited by, more than a few things. So hang on, I'm having a struggle. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, please don't start, computer. Please don't. Not while I'm live. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger and we'll kind of cruise around. Are you noticing that these pieces, and I think that these are even bigger. I think these are needle felted. I'm pretty sure that these top two are needle felted. So they would be, they're on some kind of woven. And we can tell that because we can see the natural fringe around the edges. So, and the fringe is north, south, east, and west. So obviously these are um, woven pieces. Now, do you sometimes, when you're out on your rounds, see whether it's at like a vintage store, Salvation Army store, or Home Goods? You sometimes see linens like this that have the frayed edges, like little napkins and placemats and stuff. Hey, depending on what you're doing, some of them will work for rug hooking. They're woven. If you're seeing the fringe like this, some of them will work for rug hooking. It really depends on how tight it is. If you're fine with a fine hook, then you're going to have success. But also obviously this kind of backing material will work for needle felting. So these are so beautifully done, and I'm just loving the way that they're mounted, because sometimes framing and mounting is a struggle when you already have the fringe on the edge, whether this was already looked like it had. Danny says, hi, I just had to drive, so I'm a bit behind, but you're in Minnesota. Oh, okay, great. Well, I'm so happy that you're there. Um, it could be that the fringe was there like it was a placemat with these pieces, but it could be that it was a woven and the maker just pulled out the last rows to create this kind of equal fringe. That's possible too. But what a great idea to mount it onto a piece of wood, and a lovely piece of wood at that. If it was the 1970s, you would fully expect that wood to be so shellacked. Do you know what I mean? We used to see, like in the 70s, cross sections of wood, like plaques and something mounted to them, and they were always so yellow and highly shellacked. Like you could pluck your eyebrows in the reflection of, you know, this wood. It's nice to see wood being used as a frame, but it's unfinished and it is just attached. Now, I don't know the answer to this question, but how do you think these were attached? Because they could be glued and there'd be no problem with that. I don't know how they could be. I don't see a tack or anything like that. I don't know how they could be pinned, because I feel like the pin would have to be, if it was so fine that we can't see it, it wouldn't be strong enough to go into the wood. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if they're glued on. Thinking they might be. I'm curious to know what you all think. Two beautiful pieces there. And then we've got another beautiful felted piece here. Same kind of idea. This is a cutting board. And same technique, different image. Absolutely beautiful. Veronica, great to see you, Veronica. Those are beautiful. I love the way that they are mounted. They are detailed. Maybe they are glued. I have to say I think so too. Because I feel like these look like nice hard woods. To go into the wood, you would need something formidable, and you'd be whacking away at it. And I think you would see on one of the four corners some trace of it. It looks to me like the faint bubbling around the goose's neck says to me that some of it is flat and some of it the glue didn't stick. And I don't think there's any issue with that. That can be the sky behind. Doesn't make any difference to me that it's not perfectly flat, but I think that is a clue. So cutting boards are a great idea for putting your mini punch pieces on, for putting your finished rug hooking pieces on. What's the biggest problem with a cutting board? Oh my God, the price. That's the biggest problem, right? They tend to be ridiculously expensive. Maybe this one was not. Sometimes you do see them places, and again, sometimes you see them at Home Goods or whatever. And and if you like the way they look, you should grab it because this is a great, easy way to hang. Adds a little touch of primitive. Very, very nice. This chair is beautiful too. This is certainly an older chair. This looks to me like a late 19th, early 20th century chair. And it's the kind of a chair that was made in great numbers, right? These are typically chairs that have like a wooden base to them and are fairly uncomfortable. So, like office chairs or auditorium chairs, these are not like this style of chair was not like a fine chair for back in the day. It was like a chair for public use, right, for crowds and stuff. So, this is a great idea to make a chair like this more comfortable by adding a textile to it. And usually, when you find chairs like this, you can literally just pop up what you might need to unstaple and stuff like that from underneath. But you can normally pop up the piece of wood because it literally is a wood seat for almost all of this style chair that I've ever seen. Pop up the seat and then you can just wrap it, right? You can take your piece. This looks like it's crocheted, I think, maybe with some stitching on top of it, maybe knitted. But you're literally just figuring out that your size is right, stuffing it, tucking it back under, and stapling it. And then no one needs to see that part. You just have a lovely, comfortable seat to sit in. Beautiful, really beautiful pieces. And what's great about seeing stuff like this is all of the ideas, right, that we just got. The cutting board, the mounting directly on the, oh, sorry, did I put that one in twice? Mounting directly on, oh, you know what? I have a bad feeling, wait a minute, that there was others in here. Hold on one second. Right onto the wood and finishing a chair, right? All different techniques. It brought us to a bunch. Yeah, there are a few more pretty things here. Oh, I see. That looks like a needle felted thing in a frame on the right. And then some three-dimensional needle felted little characters over there on that little wooden shelf. Someone's doing great work with wood. Somebody has a handle on cutting up wood. I think that's exciting. I had a feeling there were some more cute pieces in that photograph. Let's clip to the next one. Hold on one second. I'm getting there. Wait a minute. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to make these a little bit bigger too. Beautiful. These are a little more familiar. Let's see if we can tell. Are these rug hooked? No, these are applique. These are wool applique pieces. I just saw the buttonhole stitch, or sometimes called the basket stitch. Um, these are wool applique. So either felt, wool felt, whatever. Just sewn down, right? Like an applique quilt, right? As if it were cotton, except it's wool. And sometimes these are incorrectly referred to as penny rugs. There's no pennies here. And these are sort of modified lamb's tongues around the edge. Lamb's tongues were originally pen wipers. So beautiful image up top. Really sweet design. I've never seen this design before. That seems to me like it would be an original image. Really, really pretty and unusual. This one as well, the hummingbirds, very, very pretty with the lamb's tongues around the edge. So if this was an antique, each one of those lamb's tongues, and I mean the scallops, would be removable, or removable in that you would cut two stitches, it would come off. You would wipe your pen ink on it. You would cut it off when it got too filthy, wash it or rinse it out, or sew another one and sew it back on and replace it. So those are lamb's tongues, originally called pen wipers, around the edge. And interesting with antique rugs of the same style, whether they're appliqued or they are hooked or they're pennies or whatever. Um, it's interesting because some of the old ones do have multicolors around the edge, and it is often because the penny, or I'm sorry, the lamb's tongue has gotten so dirty that it had been replaced years ago. So these are new examples of some very old styles, really charming. I love wool applique. It's another thing I'd like to get into a little bit more. Okay, so this artist has been at it big time. This might be a different artist using the same technique. Absolutely beautiful. These again look like needle felted pieces. Danny, these are absolutely beautiful. You know, it kind of reminds me of a Polaroid. The orientation is wrong, but you know what I mean, where there's like a big border and then you see this colorful picture that's a square. If it was a Polaroid, it would be lifted up a little bit, but it still reminds me of a Polaroid. It's such it sort of it appeals to the very small naturalist in me, right? I'm not much of an outdoor person. I'm the first one to admit. But the part of me that does love the outdoors and loves looking at the way that shadows fall and the way that sunrises and sunsets glow, that part of me really loves this. And even more because I'm seeing the bark on the tree, right? And the way that these pieces are mounted, right? And they are being used, the wood is being used as a frame. It's just, it's a mount instead. But the wood is framing the piece. It goes all the way around all four sides. Rita says, funny, the descriptions say needle felted for those two. Oh, did it? Those were not, well, we know those were not needle felted because we all saw the stitching, right? You saw that stitching on those. Sometimes that can be wrong, but they should change it if it is wrong because people going, oh, I'm going to get into needle felting, and then they're like, wait a minute, right? Hey, there's worse things right now, right? These are so gorgeous, Gail. They are all gorgeous. This is a great show. I'm gonna have to look up the Zumbro River. That's ZUMBRO, one word, River Fiber Arts Guild, probably in Minnesota, right where Danny is. So this is also something from that show. This is an applique quilt, right? The border is probably pieced, but the center of it is appliqued for sure. Absolutely gorgeous. This reminds me of like a Sue Spargo design. It might be a Sue Spargo design because she does a lot with wool applique. I'm sorry, with all applique, not just wool, but cotton as well. Another beautiful piece. Look at the nice colorful border with the dots. Isn't it interesting how there's a lot of red dots in one area and then there's some orange, there's some plaid. I just love finding color in a piece like this. Even the highlights or the little folds on the central flower petals, three per petal, those are unusual materials as well. It's nice to find those prints with your eye and those color changes. Really beautiful. Judy loves this quilt. And Judy, you're a quilter. You love fine quilts, right? I love the colors too. It's that yellowy color. Maybe it's mustard. Maybe it's like a bronzy green color. It's hard to say. Maybe it's an old gold. But God, that color is such a good mate with black. And the black looks like a printed black. The black might even be wool. I can't really tell, but it looks like the black might be wool and that there's some cotton applique. Why not? Um, I love the red with the mustardy color with the black. And then you would think, okay, we're talking about like a fall winter palette. No, there's like light blue. There's a color that's a sort of mauve color. There's the brighter orange. There's the bright yellow. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful and brilliant color palette. Huge on inspiration. I would bet that that was a Sue Spargo. Danny, this was also in the show, right? I'm going to stretch this in just a second. This is rug hooked. I don't even think I think it must be, right? I don't think we need to stretch this. This really blows my mind because it looks like a lot of Pearl McGowan rugs or rugs from that period, but somehow the if it is, right, if it is, and I don't necessarily think it is, the border has not been done uh, because there are plenty of Pearl McGowan rug patterns that are very, very busy in the center. And then typically there's one, two, three, or more borders that are busy as well. And for me, sometimes for me, for my taste, that can be the kiss of death, right? Because then we are truly talking about a rug, and then we are talking about something for the floor, and that might not be what you're after. So it's an interesting thought to me whether this is a McGowan pattern or not. It does make me think of the McGowan patterns I have and how I love the flowers, I love the design, but I don't want to make a rug. I wonder how many of those old patterns that you might have sitting around could be done with no border. And then you really have got a tapestry for the wall. And it might look like this. I mean, it's a funny thought, right? Because I can't say that I can think of another time when I looked at something and I thought, is that a Pearl McGowan rug but just cropped with no border at all? I mean, it might not be. Let's see what we can find out. Color wise, holy crapolies, right? This is so beautiful. This is realism And I typically don't like realism, but I'm loving it here. This rug does seem to have an orientation. It could go in any direction, but for some reason, this does seem like the right direction because it is heavier on the bottom, which makes me question whether this is a gown. Judy says commercial patterns tend to be somewhat symmetrical, but this one is like a freedom bouquet. Absolutely. It is funny. You do see it like loosening up on the top a little bit on the right side, a little bit on the top left side. But yeah, it does have weight to the bottom. It would look like things were falling, I think, if you hung it upside down, at least the way. Well, let's check. Let's check. Let me unlock it and let's see if it works upside down. Let's go transform. Let's go here and then one more. Hang in. We'll go here and let me move. You know, it's not as bad as I thought, but now I can see that the bleeding hearts are upside down. So that is a problem. This is not the right way. It is absolutely extraordinary. And I'm going to move to the close up of it. Oh, you know what? No, I got to flip it back. Hold on. I got to flip it back because we want to check the tag out on there. Um, Hold on one second while I concentrate. I don't want to click the wrong thing. There we go. I got to say, I think one of the great things about this piece, well, the thing that I'm thinking of is that very solid light rose in the center, right? That looks like a double petal rose. It is a very stable motif. Everything seems to be in relation to that rose, right? And yes, every flower that's represented is its own animal, right? It's everything. It has its own color palette, its own form, its own song, but that everything seems to have a relationship to the rose. Everything seems to be radiating from the center in the rose. And the fact that the rose is such a it's a blushing color, right? It's not a look at me, oh, look at me. It's not a bright color. It's a really light, soft, understated color, and yet it manages to be a showstopper and to hold the rest of the composition in place. I think that's remarkable. I think it's further remarkable because of the number of different flowers that are here and because so many of the petals and stems have a ribbon quality, right, are very filigree or move like a ribbon, because that can create beauty, a very romantic look, but also a lot of unstable lines. And that's not happening here. This is alchemy, right? This is crazy. It just works. One of the things I think that the two things that are helping it work, in addition to the rose, if I were to name three: number one, rose; number two, background is black; number three, it's pretty much the same green throughout. It looks like Reseda green to me. And you know, there it does dip into lighter greens, like a lighter sort of country green, like more of a celery. But the main green that we're seeing is a shade of like one of the values of the same green. It's a cool green. And I think that helps because it patterns the background consistently. And there you've got a black background with this green network of foliage, and then you're just like decorating the Christmas tree at that point. You're just putting on the flowers, hanging it up in the different places, and you get to do each one exactly the way that you want because it is a very stable composition. It's absolutely a beautiful piece. Let me just stretch it one more time and see if we can see this person's name. Maybe we know Mary. Hold on. George, something like that. Hooked rug. Jane McGowan. Okay, so this is a Jane McGowan Flynn rug. Wool, hand dyed. Wow. Does anybody know Mary? Can anybody see that name just so we can record it here? I'd love. Is it Is it Diego? No, there's an extra letter. Maybe it is Diego. I'll see if anybody writes. I'd like to say her name out loud in the show because this is a stellar piece. And I have a close-up of it in the next slide. Let's look at slide number 35. Hang on. There we go. Oh, interesting. And you know, as rug hookers, you know what we're looking at right here that hits you right in the face. There's two cuts. So one of them I think is a number 2 cut. That's probably most of the rug. Possibly a number 3 in some places. But then I think we're looking at a number 7. I don't think it's a number 8. I think it's a number 7. And we're seeing that for the stems and the veining. Now, knowing that, let's run with that information And I won't do too much more because I know time is a ticking. But okay, so that veining is on the um, petals. Diorge. Thank you, Karen. Doerge. Mary Dorge or Dorge. Doerge. If anybody knows her, please say that we looked at her piece from the Zumbro River Fiber Arts Guild and we fell in love with it. It's absolutely beautiful. But you see that that veining only happens in the center coming off of the rose. I see it north, east, and west. I don't see it south. But you see that thicker line. Interesting because I would never. Oh, Leah, great to see you. Happy Friday. I would never have noticed it. What a gorgeous piece, right? What a gorgeous piece. So, all right, I'm going to keep going. And this is here for you later. You can always come and check it out again later because that really was an eyeful. Let me make sure I didn't miss one. No, that really was an eyeful. So this looks to me, I might have to make this bigger. This is a bell pull, of course. These are just fun. Sometimes people call them yard longs because they're a yard long. But and sometimes they're bell pulls. It depends really on the orientation of them as well, because you can put them over the door like a barrel stave, right? If you put them sideways. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I feel like this. I didn't take a close enough look at it. I'm thinking it's like a large cross stitch or needlework. At first glance, I thought it was um, latch, but no, it's definitely not. Oh, what is going on here? Okay, it's Mary again. Now, what does it say? Bell pull something wool. But is it telling us the technique? You know what it could be? I mean, because Mary's a rug hooker, she could be doing the what is that stitch called? I've done it so many times live on the show here. The hell is it called? It looks like knitting. It does, Leah. It looks knitted. I'm looking around to see if I have a. Oh God, what is it called? Come on, Karen, you're gonna know from McGowan. You know when you go. Okay, wait a minute. What the hell is it called? You're doing it with a hook. It's hooked. You're pulling up a loop, right? Pulling up a loop like you always do, and you're putting your hook through the loop to go down and pick up the next loop. Do you see what I mean? So you're pulling up a loop. You're not moving on to the next hole. You're going through the loop with that you just pulled up with your hook and going down and picking up the next one, and it comes up like a braid. And then you underneath you can kind of tug to make sure it sits well at the surface. I forget what it's called, but we've done it a lot live. It's a very easy technique. It could be, and I don't know, it could be that she did that for this whole thing. Or I don't know. Judy says, twist some. Is that what it says? Oh, twist some. Oh, you're reading the tag. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Hold on, let's see. And you know what's funny is I saw a textile at an antique store about a year ago and I bought it. I'm sure we looked at it together. I have no idea where it is at this moment, but it looked like this. And I thought, is it knitted? Twists. Twists. Yeah, I think you're right, Judy. What the heck is that? Does anybody have time to Google that? What the heck is that? Because it does look knitted. We can do this as rug hookers. We can do this. It would be, I was going to say it would be massively labor intensive. I don't know that it would be. You can do this again. Sorry, I'm working through this in live while we're looking at it. You could twist some crocheted. Not getting a Google result. Son of a something. That is so curious. That is so curious. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do on Monday's show? I'm going to see if we can figure this out. Let's figure this out live. I'm going to get my frame. We're going to do one of these on Monday's show. I'm going to get my frame. I'll just draw like a random pattern. You can do it with me if you have your frame ready. Bring a frame, bring a hook, bring wool strips. This is a job for wool strips. Um, Although, you could do it with yarn too. Okay, uh-oh, I just thought of something. Let's do this on Monday, right? I want to work through this on Monday together. I'm going to do it with wool strips. I'm going to pretend that I'm looking at a cross stitch pattern, and I'm just going to draw. I'm going to pretend it's cross stitch, but I'm going to draw something on my backing. I'll think of something that's good for winter, and let's see how that works. Let's work on that together and see how that works. I'm really curious. What I just thought of was wool strips are different, but if you were to use yarn, let's look at this piece again. If you were to use yarn and do this with this rug hooking technique, and again, more on this Monday, if you were doing it in yarn, even if it was a very small sort of ply, like sock weight, it would still have quite a high surface, whereas this looks more flat. So now I'm really confused because it does look really flat. So I'm at a place where I'm thinking, I don't think this is that rug hooking stitch. I don't think it is. Look at the way the sides are so tidy. It couldn't be done with a rug hook, could it? Not this thin. This looks really thin. But you know what? You could probably do the same thing with a needle, right? And just come up through the loop and pull it back down again. This is so curious because if this is the case, if we can, I don't think this is rug hooking, but I'm still curious to see whether we could do a pattern like this in rug hooking. What's so great about this pattern? It looks like cross stitch. It looks like a little bit like Bargello. It looks like material is dragged, and that's because each one of those stitches is basically not a knot, well, sort of a knot. It's a loop that's been dragged back down, so stitched back down, like a daisy stitch, right? It's a daisy stitch, each one of these loops. I'm so curious because if this can work in hooking, right, um, then you could, for example, if you have hoarded, I'm sure you haven't, but if you have hoarded every magazine on crafts that you've ever seen at every thrift store, then you have some cross stitch patterns that you're probably never going to use. Or are you? Right? Because I love a lot of cross stitch patterns that I see, and I think, no thanks, Satan. I can't see anything with these eyes. No thanks. But if I could transcribe, this block is red, this block is green, this, see, that could be the pain in the ass factor could be through the roof doing this with rug hooking. Let's experiment with it on Monday. Bring a small frame or a hoop, bring just a few colors. Before then, I'll try to think of what kind of design to do. Or you say, what kind of simple design should we do? You decide, and then you bring colors accordingly, right? And we'll get as far as we can with this thought, right? Putting it into action, turning it into an exercise. We'll do that together on Monday, and then we'll know more. Mary, you're killing us tonight in the best possible way. Mary has brought some stuff to the table that is really rocking my world here. This looks more familiar. This is a beautiful woven, isn't it? This is something that was done on some kind of a loom. Oh, Valerie says there is. Oh, wait a minute. First, Danny says, I just zoomed in on my picture and it says twist sums. What a weird dang word that is. Twist, TWIST, SOMS. One word. Twist sums. Wow. Okay, and Valerie says there is a Brazilian tapestry rug family I saw on late night scrolling that looks like that. And it was a bit like cross stitch. Valerie. Okay, this is very exciting. I'm getting that tingle. My spidey senses are going nuts right now. Interesting. Karen says it looks like it's knitted horizontally and then embroidered with stitches over the knitted row. I'm going back again. Maybe. I feel like all of the stitches look exactly the same. And I feel like if it's knitted, it's knitted. I'm not seeing evidence of embroidery stitches, but I do agree with you. It might be knitted. If it is knitted, God, what a nightmare. I mean, I'm just thinking about all of the color changes. for us as rug hookers, it's really easy to clip and move on. And of course, if this was hooked, and I don't believe it was anymore, but if it was, you'd want to keep your tails under for this piece. You would not want them on the surface because part of the prestige of this piece is just the textured look of the finished piece. It is the texture. And if you had a bunch of tails doodling it up, that would really take away from the overall effect. This is so curious. Judy says, "Oh, I think I saw that, Valerie, but I don't know how I'd ever find it again." Oh, this is interesting. Well, I see some weekend rabbit holes opening up for us here. Let me stretch this one a little bit too. I do love me a nice big loomed rug, and it looks like they're showing us something else. Let's check what that something else is. Let's get right in here. You know what these look like to me is natural dyes. Let's see what's going on here. Marge Menthray? Is it Menthray? 1923 to 1996. Color cards, natural dyes. I knew it. Natural dyes are like, I love my chemical dyes. I love them because they're so reliable, but there is something so mellow about natural dyes. When you go to fiber festivals, you can tell oh, Kirsten, great to see you. You can tell the natural dye booths like a mile away, can't you? I mean, you really, it just has a different look. And when you're used to looking at textiles, you look at something that is colored with a natural dye, and it like hits you in the throat. It's like it's somehow like we are connected to hundreds of years of natural dyeing, and we know it when we see it because we're fiber people. What a beautiful piece. What a beautiful tribute this is. So this was twill. I'm looking on the left. Something green rug twill weave wool. Okay. So that is a woven piece and absolutely beautiful. And she's showing, well, we're looking at some of her cards. So she passed away in 1996, Marge. Absolutely beautiful. If anyone can see the last name, if you write it in the thread, again, I just want to say her name. So it is out there in the ether. And what a beautiful thing to have, right? What a tactile thing. The little book with the two clips and the hand punched holes, right? What a beautiful way of displaying your yarns. That is one of the most tactile and gorgeous things I think I've ever seen. And Karen says embroidered might not be the right word. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's so weird, Karen. It's so weird. I wish that I was more unpacked over here because that thing I found, it was a year ago last winter. Um, it reminds me of that so much. It's the same technique, I have no doubt. So interesting. We're between us. We're going to figure out what that is, and it might be something that we're interested in as a sister craft, right? Remember, Valerie said like you took time off because your hands were hurting. The more sister crafts we know, the better because it opens up the possibilities for us. Thank you, Manthe. So it was Margie, right? Margie Manthe, Manthei. Thank you, Myra. This is another gorgeous piece. I'll zero in on this tag too. This looks like a felted piece to me. This looks like a hand felted piece that has different sheets of wool put together, right? It's a tailored jacket, so this has some sewing on it, but it also has an unfinished placket, which is that front sort of seam that closes up. That is unfinished. I don't see any stitching on that, but I do see some beautiful decorative stitching on the collar. That's also going to help the collar comply with what you want it to do. When you stitch something down like that, it gives it memory, right? It adds to its memory, and you stitch it down. You fold on the collar. It's more rigid. It's more likely to stay like that forever. So we hardly ever see garments that are made with this stiffer wool. Um, why and why not? Why is it beautiful? Well, it's beautiful, right? Did you check out this little button it's got on the front of it too? It's absolutely beautiful. It is gorgeous. What a joy and what a source of pride to walk around in a jacket that you have sewn, right? Because you can see there's a slightly different blue in some places. It might be that it is one piece that has been dyed, but that the artist has chosen where the colors fall because you can see the seam that goes across the top collar and comes down as a dropped shoulder seam. It's darker. In the bottom of the sleeves is a darker blue too, and you can see creeping around the sides, it's a little bit darker too. What a joy to wear such a piece of art, right? This is art clothing. That is a whole category of clothing that I can't afford. It is usually present at fiber festivals. It is gorgeous stuff. What is the best thing about using this kind of heavyweight felt for a jacket? It looks gorgeous, and it is a piece of art. It is a very structured garment, and you cannot get away with that. So falling into the category of, is this a practical piece to wear? Is this getting you going, and is this practical to wear? It's going to be warm, right? So think, depending on where you are in your journey, it's going to be warm. It's going to be very structured, and you cannot get away from that. If you see yourself putting it on and it looking kind of loose and draping, it ain't going to drape. But if you're putting it on and thinking it's going to give you that power suit kind of look, it's going to be very structured. It is going to do that. It is also going to want to wrinkle. So you have to be thinking about that too. But of course, you're going to be able to steam out the wrinkles. But pros and cons to different materials. If you're thinking, well, I used to wear boiled wool jackets from Talbot's, right? And those were really thick wool. They were, but they were felted, right? They were felted. They were more airy. They were less dense than this kind of wool. Um, very apples and oranges, right? But absolutely beautiful piece of clothing. Um, and let me zero in on both the button and the tag. It's absolutely gorgeous. I would wear this if I was like speaking or something. I would not wear a turtleneck under it. It becomes a murder weapon when you wear the turtleneck under it. You get so hot. I love this. It looks like an enamel pin, doesn't it? It looks a bit Picasso. Um, so beautiful. Yeah, I see. So it does appear to be one piece of wool that is just colored differently. And choosing the placement of the color obviously is a huge part of the art of this piece, making it look the way you want it to look. Carolyn, um, well, that looks like the same last name we saw before. Oh, I'm looking up in the thread. Let me say it again. I want to attribute if I can. Let's see. Um, Gosh, sorry. I can't find it. My eyes are not working that well. It looks like the same surname. But Carolyn this time, absolutely gorgeous. Wet felted wool. Does that say fleece? I think it's better than a fleece. I think of a fleece as being, oh, such a sweet button, Rita, right? So pretty. I think of fleece as being, uh, fleece. This is way more elegant than fleece. She's the one with the twisty wool. Oh, she's the one with the, yes, Rita, she's the one with the curls, right? She's the one with the curls. Oh, Jiminy Cricket. Okay, so what have we got here? Okay, this is another really, oh my God, this is another really interesting piece. I might have to save some of our slides for Monday because I feel myself digging in here. This is like, Danny, I'm so glad that you took these photos. I don't want to rush through them. This is taking us on a real journey here because do you see what I see up in the sky? It's the stitch again. It's the dang stitch again. So hang on, let's admire it from a distance. This is a beautiful um, exposed backing piece. This is a gorgeous textile piece. We gotta get back in and look at this again because at first glance I thought it was hooked. I think that darkest value could be hooked. This is definitely a woven. I can tell just by looking at it, tiny, that it's a woven. So it could be that that dark tier or layer is hooked, but I am seeing, yep, that stitch again. All right, we got to get in there. Let's roll up our sleeves. Come on, come with me. Let's look and let's see because now we can see it without anything next to it. You know what it is? It's totally a daisy stitch, right? It's just a daisy stitch. That's exactly what it is. And it can't be rug hooked because that tier can't be rug hooked because the backing is too tight. Could be a bell pull. Could the bell pull could be intarsia. Interesting. I don't know intarsia. I only know that phrase when it comes to sculpture, like reverse carving a sculpture is called. Oh no, that's intaglia. No, I don't know intarsia at all. Interesting. Gail, I have to look up that word. I love new words. Yeah, it's a daisy stitch. That's what it is. I have no doubt. Now that I'm looking at it with nothing surrounding it, I'll show you this on Monday too. So I'm gonna have my hook and intarsia. Okay, I gotta check my phone. I'm sorry, I gotta check my phone. Here, hold on 1 second while I gotta Google this because I gotta know intarsia. Um, and of course I misspelled it in three different ways. Let's see, intarsia. A technique used in knitting and woodworking to create a pattern with different colors or materials that appear to be inlaid into each other. In knitting, it's used to create shapes and designs by knitting with multiple colors at the same time. Okay, I definitely have heard this word in like relating to like Fair Isle sweaters. Um, Without carrying yarn strands across the back of the work as in a fair isle. Okay, I get it. I mean, I get it in knitting language. I'm still working on it with this. In woodworking, it's inlaid. It simply means inlaid. Okay, this is really interesting. Okay, so on Monday, I'm going to bring my rug hook. I'm going to do both into the same backing. That's not knitted backing though. No, this is a woven, and they have just done. They have done the daisy stitch, going right up very carefully, one after the other. In this case, it's vertical, but do you remember the last piece? It was horizontal. The bell pull was horizontal. This piece is vertical. So this is really interesting. No, it is not knitted. You can do this with knitting. You can. And that's why at first blush, everyone was like, oh, it's knitted. But we knew that it was not knitted. Now, what I'm seeing on top is this embroidery stitch. But I'm still struggling with this, with this. Okay, I'm struggling with the darkest value, right? That's not the same. Look right above that dark strip on the left. There's that small piece that looks like a blue island, and it looks different. It looks different, I think, because it's lower, right? The stitches are pulled much lower, and it looks like a finer yarn. But I think it's the same exact technique. And above it, right, and around it, same technique, but stitched higher. I think it's the same dang thing. God, this is so weird and surreal. It's about as close to rug hooking in terms of pile, height of loop that I can imagine. And the fact that this artist, this has to be Mary again, right? The fact that this artist is able to do this so well with different heights makes me wonder how easy it is to control the height. Is for example the blue that you're seeing at the top, the very tippity top, that lighter blue, is it higher relief because the yarn is thicker? Is she using a tool or something to be sure that she doesn't pull it too tight and ruin it? Because the smaller scale I think is a different yarn, but it's pulled right against the backing fabric and it's flatter, right? So some of it is higher relief. Now looking down below, I think it's the same again, but it has higher relief way at the bottom. And she's using variegated yarns. I think she's using those magic or mystery yarns that are the same kind of color family, but they change subtly. High pile again. The one that I'm still stumped with is that darkest one. Maybe I just can't see it well enough to see. It's probably the same pattern, right? It's probably a different yarn, same pattern. That's what makes the most sense, because it looks like it's rug hooked and it can't be rug hooked, because when you look at that backing, you're a hooker. You know you can't hook in that backing. You just know. So I'm guessing it's the same technique, but it's a bit the texture, more of a chenille maybe texture to the yarn. God, what a, you know what that must have been to your eyes, that dark value doing that, because it's more plush. It's much harder to see. It doesn't have the structure of the other fabrics. This is so interesting. I cannot wait to fool around with this. We're going to have fun on Monday with this. And Judy says the bottom layer looks like Malabrigio Rasta yarn. Absolutely, it could definitely be that. It could definitely be that. It doesn't look as thick as that, but it's something. It's definitely something like that. It could be that. Um, you know what? Oh God, don't get me started. You know what? I'm gonna make it smaller again. This technique would look so good with. Do you all know Koigu yarn? Koigu. I have so much dang Koigu yarn, thinking I was gonna, take the world by storm, like knitting. That definitely didn't happen. But I have a lot of Koigu left, and I always think, what am I gonna? I mean, it's so expensive, and I have, yeah, a crazy amount of it. I bet that Koigu yarn would be beautiful for this. It's thin, but it does a lot of stuff with color changing. It's got a lot of structure. It's got a high twist. Um, Interesting. Because a lot of us hook with yarn as well. Maybe you have some yarn left over. You know what? I'm so curious. You know what I'm going to do on Monday? So I bet that you could both rug hook and do this technique in the same piece. Because why couldn't you? It's fabric, right? With rug hooking, we need to use one of our backing materials, but with this, you don't have to use this specific material. You can do this into our backing material. So I think I'm going to get out one of my linens or something on Monday. And I'm going to try to do both. I'll do a little piece. I'll just fool around with it. We'll see how far we get. I'm going to do this stitch with a needle, and I'm going to do this stitch with a hook, and I'm going to do this stitch with different fabrics. And we're going to see how it looks as a sampler. I think that is going to be so much fun. I am so curious because if you end up liking it and saying, oh, spaghetti-o, that was a lot easier than I thought. I'm going to do this all the time now. Then you can pull out all those yarns that maybe you have not been successful with hooking. You thought, oh, it's pretty. I love it. I'm using it all the time. And then you hooked with it and you thought, no thanks. It might be good for this, right? Interesting. All right. Well, we have a lot to look forward to. I'm already excited for that. Okay, so hang on. Let's keep going. I'm going to get a little bit further along. Um, okay. Um, Overshot, right? I'm going to make this larger so we can look at it. But this is, I might be wrong, but this is what I would call overshot. This is, uh, um, this is a loomed textile, very popular in early America, where, oh, Judy says, could the loops be pulled up with a crochet hook? Yes. Judy, that's a great question. The loops could be pulled up with a crochet hook, um, as long as a crochet hook. So, so the answer is yes. In rug hooking backing, the answer is only yes if the crochet hook is compatible with the backing. So as usual, the same issues apply. The crochet hook might be problematic for your rug hooking backing if, number one, the tip isn't sharp or pointy enough to go through your backing fabric, and number two, if the crook of the hook is not deep enough to catch what you want to pull through. Those are the two things that might go wrong with a crochet hook as a rug hooker. Uh, this technique can certainly be done with a crochet hook, but you're still going to struggle with a crochet hook in your backing fabric for the same reasons you would if you were rug hooking. But yes, the answer is definitely yes. Um, so overshot was used in early America because people had looms, right? People shared looms, and they were natural dye colors. So with very natural dye colors, not a lot of time. This is just an early American sort of sidebar that I'm doing here. Not a lot of time to fool around in those days, right? Life was not about getting the right color of blue, right? It was about surviving and growing food and heating the house and, yeah, just staying alive. So they were using natural dyes and they didn't have a lot of color choices. And, they had what was immediately around them and what worked best. So you tend to see overshot in very basic color palettes, colors that were available. So the colors don't bowl you over because there's such a kaleidoscope of colors. Instead, in lieu of having a kaleidoscope of colors, they did crazy patterns. And they figured out how to use cards, right? Like looming with cards, that you can make these incredible very intricate patterns. And so what your textile lacked in color, it really made up for in these extraordinary patterns. Let me um, let me make this a little bit. I remember not that long ago. Okay, help me out if I get this wrong. A guy hooker was at one of the Pennsylvania places. I so wanted to go, and in the end, I was completely overwhelmed, and I just couldn't get away. I want to say Kenner, Keith Kemmer. Do you know who I mean? Um, I know that he hooked some pieces that look like overshot, and I was so impressed with them. I just thought it was such a beautiful crossover from an early American textile to um, now, right, to rug hooking. And like we were talking about today, the possible crossover between a cross stitch pattern and rug hooking, right? Using a cross stitch, the information on a cross stitch pattern to make a hooked piece. Is it possible? It's entirely possible. Is it difficult? It's no more difficult than anything else except you're reading a pattern, right? You have to pay attention to what square comes next. If that's not for you, then you know that's not for you. But difficulty wise, it's just um, there's another layer of thought that goes into it. You are consulting a pattern instead of just following and filling in lines. But in terms of the technical hooking, it's the same thing. You're just hooking, right? So this is Colleen Johnston, and this is a table runner. Yep, overshot weaving wool. Good Lord. And look at the pieces underneath it as well, right? You're seeing some different colors in there. Absolutely gorgeous. Is that gorgeous? And you can see why these textiles are expensive when you find them for sale. I mean, come on, they have to be. Number one, this is wool. So in early America, this would be like linsey woolsey or some kind of a blend, right? Probably a blend, hemp, something like that. But this is wool. I mean, when you've got wool, we're talking about some serious coin. I got that from Rebecca. She says that of storyteller wool. She says coin all the time. I think it sounds so cool. So, beautiful piece. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. So, I want to pause here to say, Danny, thank you so much for sending the pieces from this exhibit. These are over the top. I mean, it's so different. And when I glanced through them, I thought, oh, we'll probably go through those really fast because there's only one hooked piece. What was I thinking? There's so much inspiration there. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I want to see how many. I'm so happy to see those different techniques, is what I mean. That was very exciting. Oh, see, Patricia sent some beauties too. Patricia, you sent a bunch of beauties too, and I'm not going to squander them. I was going to squeeze them into this show, but I don't want to squander them. They're too good. Like, they're too pretty to squeeze into this show. So I'm not going to do it because then I'm just going to be looking at the clock. I've got Karen, I want to show yours in a second. Um, Leah says it almost looks like if you crossed your eyes, you'd see a 3D image. Yeah, that the technique definitely looks like that. It's almost, yeah, like the colors dragged, and it kind of is because they're making a stitch and then they're coming up through the stitch and dragging it down. And wherever you drag it, if you drag it up, it has this going north orientation. If you drag it east, it has this sideways orientation, and so on. I mean, it is just brilliant. We don't see this technique. We rarely see this technique. We're textile people and we don't see this technique. Let's figure out how to do this technique. Let's figure out how it works best. I'm going to, again, do it with wool, with yarn, with different gauges of yarn, maybe a chenille wool. I'm going to do it with wool strips, and I'm going to do it with a needle, and I'm going to do it with a hook. And then we're really going to see, by the end of the show, we're really going to see what works, what's possible, what ain't worth it, right? If anything is so problematic that it's just like not for you. If you see me struggling with it, you know that, and I will be really communicative about what is working and what's really difficult to do. We'll definitely look forward to that. So, Karen, I'm going to show yours as the last image. And Patricia, I love what you sent so much that I'm going to save it for next week. So, I'll figure out when I'm going to slot that in, and I will let you all know. But I don't want to race through it. It's too good, and it doesn't deserve to be raced through. Um, So Judy says, "Oh, Danny, maybe artists will be around to talk about their work, and you can bring more intel." Oh, Danny says, "I'm bringing my husband back tomorrow. I'm so glad I'll have more to tell him." Yeah, see what else you can find out. Um, yeah, particularly about the ones that were making us crazy. Um, Interesting. Oh gosh, that sounds so good. So good. And for everybody else, remember the Zumbro, Zumbro, River Fiber Arts Guild, Minnesota. So look that up. If it's in Minnesota, it's going to be the right one, right? There can't be two. Um, yeah, I'll be so curious to see a bit more of that. They were all fantastic pieces. Really. Wow. Okay. And Karen, speaking of fantastic pieces, you have been busy, my lady. I saw this when you started it and thought, how is she ever? When you get going on something, you are a fireball. And this is for your son, right? Oh, wait a minute. You gave me text. So let's see. You wrote, "Hi, Deanna. I just wanted to share a photo of the progress of this 42 by 72 inch rug for my son, Robert. It's a pattern he picked by Jane McGowan Flynn, and it's hooked with a 3 cut. Ouch! I started it on Valentine's Day, and I hope to have it done by Christmas. This rug has taught me patience and persistence, and I don't think I'll make another one anytime soon, LOL. But when your son asks for it, and has even gone so far as to move furniture around for it. Yes. While there's a place for this style of rug, I can't wait to get on with a smaller, more creative project." Yeah. You know, I gotta say, I'm going to echo Linda and say, wowza. I second that. It is just incredible. You are going to get it done in time. I have no doubt. Um, Karen, it looks like you stitched the twill tape to the edge. Is that what that is? That's the twill tape, right? Because then that was a smart call. Because when you are done, you're just going to turn that under and sew it, and that part is going to go fast. This is so stunning. It's even prettier than I was imagining it. I love the color palette on this. All of those chocolate browns, truffle browns, right? The cocos, all of those rich, warm browns. And then, Karen, is the background super dark brown or black? I'm thinking it's black because you've got so many browns playing on top of it. I love the greens. I love what looks like a periwinkle or maybe a gray color. I love the lighter pink color. It has the background is so ornate, right? It looks a bit ornate, like pearls, but it also kind of looks to me like Candyland with all the no chutes and ladders with all the ladders and stuff coming down. Has that peppermint feel to it? All this swirling busyness. It is such a busy rug. It is so beautiful. It's a extraordinary composition. It is just exquisite. It has the best design wise, the best of a floor rug, but it is so filigree and fine and different. It is really different. Robert could not have found, I think, a better um, design. I mean, maybe you don't, maybe you're not feeling that right now, but I mean, okay. So the background is a deep brown. You stuck with the browns. Wow, colors are extraordinary. I mean, this is like one of the all-time greats, right? It's one of the goats for sure. Twill tape is installed. Good. That was really smart because the last thing you want to think about is a big fiddly project when you're done. You are that was really smart to just get it done. Pay it forward, right? With this, Leah says you should be proud, Karen. It's stunning. It is stunning. Gail says it's gorgeous as well. I mean, who would not appreciate love? Just kill for this rug. I mean, it is really extraordinary. You have finished the central motif, so you are now, and you have two borders to go. Um, you have gotten an incredible amount done. God, it's so pretty. Karen says, "I almost pulled out all the white peppermint, but the deep burgundy would be gone." No, no. Oh, God, I'm so glad that you didn't. God, no. Veronica says, "Amazing work, Karen." No, I'm so glad you didn't. It's so cool. It's so different. You know, it's sometimes so hard with McGowan rugs, whether it's Jane or Pearl. It's so hard for me to distinguish and get excited about them sometimes because I've seen them. I feel like I've seen them all. And there's nothing new under the sun. Guess what? This is new. I have not seen this before. I've not seen anything that looks like this before. It is just, it has got so much energy happening. The palette is so unusual. I don't know. I like to think of what I would call something like, because it does have a bit of a city rhythm to me. The background, like all the paisleys, it gives me that city vibe of all of these little lights going on. But the center has a much more country feel. Right? It's a little bit deco, but it has a bit of a country flavor to it, and maybe that's the colors. You've got some beautiful sort of putty colors that are more associated with chalkware paints and country crafts, right? And you've managed to combine that color palette with this rich sort of chocolate. It's like this aromatic kind of culinary palette of all of these rich browns and maroons and the colors of roast beef, the colors of Thanksgiving, the colors of bonbons. I mean, it's extraordinary. It's got, Leah says, it's got its own soul. It does. Such a pretty way of saying that, too. It really does. The border pulled it back. It did. And I think that's an important point as well. Because with something like this, if you were to go full throttle to the edges, it would still be an extraordinary rug. But the way that it has, in framing it twice, you have contained it. Like the storytelling is like, there's two different stories going on in the center, and I tried to describe that with the city rhythm, and then the center is more like a country village green. So there's for me a lot of drama in this rug already, and then we get out to that first border, and it's a very rhythmic border, right? It's almost like it's almost got a wave ocean wave lilt to it. But it has more paisleys. It seems to have more paisleys. It's much more ornate than a wave, but it's still a very high action, um, very sort of energized border, because that line goes top bottom top bottom top, like it's reading your heart rate, right? It's not like a kind of wimpy worm, like earthworm making his way through. It really is a dynamic line, so it holds the energy like a picture frame of that central motif. And then we get to the outside border, it's a complete departure. And the fact that you took it back with the colors at that point, I feel like you needed that frame in light colors because the center is much lighter and brighter color wise. But in that outer border, man, you pulled it way back with the colors, and we're getting way more mellow, but the colors are not getting boring. They're the same colors. We're seeing that sort of gray that looks to me like a little bit of periwinkle. We're seeing the maroon and I think a more reddish color, unless it is the same value of red, just different with different colors around it. And that sort of army green color, the brown colors. The color palette is incredible with this. It's just incredible. And, I have to be honest, I would have been so scared looking at these colors. If I was making this rug, I would have been so scared that it would have come out looking a bit too feminine, color wise. And I wouldn't have trusted myself, I don't think. You are a much better hooker than I am, but it did not come out like that at all. It comes out as pure genius. It is perfect, which reminds me that when you're doing a project like this, you know, you, any project, I think you need to take risks. You can always pull it out, and you would not want to do that with something like this size. But with smaller projects, you can always pull it out. It's worth taking risks. You can lay your colors out on a table, but until you plug them in and you really see what they look like next to each other, you just don't know, right? You can plan all you want, but until you get going, you just don't know. So this piece is like a testament to that. Color wise, um, yeah, I thought, ooh, this could go in a lot of different directions, but you have been like an expert horsewoman with a very difficult horse, right? You have managed to keep this completely under control and made good decisions throughout. And it's extraordinary. And you know what? Even though you have very little to go, I think it's going to be um, exciting to see it done. I think it is going to look different again when it's done, just because it's the kind of piece with so much going on. We're going to look at it one more time and go, oh my God, right? It's again, it's going to be worth looking at when you're finished, and I'm sure you're going to finish on time. Speaking of finishing on time, we're only 6 minutes late. Patricia, thank you so much for sending the pictures from the McGowan Guild show, and I can't wait to look at them. I'll tell you what day we're going to look at them because now I've committed to doing the thing on Monday. So maybe we do that on Friday. I'll see if I can add some more stuff. If you have more photos, you could always send them to me because I think I'm going to make a full show out of the McGowan Guild next Friday. So, yeah, so if you have anything else for me that you thought, oh, I'm swamping her or whatever, you can go ahead and send it to me because I'm going to set aside a lot of time for that. So, yeah, sounds great. Well, hey, everybody, it was great spending some time together. Love being together on Fridays. I was so bogged down with like all the stupidness of the day and looking for stuff I couldn't find. And then we get together, we talk about nice things, we get great ideas, and I feel like I'm reset. So thank you for being here. It's great to be together. I always enjoy our Friday nights together, and I'm looking forward to Monday together. So I will see you then. But in the meantime, remember all the projects that we've got going. And I do have another project that I want to bring up with you. I'll bring that up with you on Monday that I started sort of brainstorming with Laani. She gave me a great idea that I really want to run with because I feel like we're in very good shape for. I'm putting the rose book together now, so my computer doesn't crap itself before everything is completely done. I don't want to lose anything. I think everything is okay. I think everything is backed up. Um, but in any case, the Rose Book is I'm editing that right now, and the Spilling the Tea book, right, for our 250th anniversary. If you are not American, you can still participate in this book, right? I have some Canadian friends who are working on this book. If you're somewhere else and you want me to, that was a hiccup, not a burp, just saying, and you want to work on something, I can always send you the PDF and you could just send me a really good photograph. So anybody's welcome to work on it. This is a book about storytelling. It's not about it is in part about patriotism, but it's not like it's not a waving the flag rah 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 book. It's a let's remember these great stories from the early days, right? And the 1776 days. Everybody's welcome to work on that. I think I've assigned about 15 of the patterns by now. So I'm definitely halfway through. So if you feel like working on it, make sure you let me know because I do have some great patterns that I haven't shared yet. I was working on them on my tablet. So that's coming along well too. And it does put us in a good situation. I'm still compiling the laundry line book as you send me stuff. But it does put me in a place where I can think about the next book and I do know what it is. So we'll talk about that on Monday too. Thank you all for being here. Happy birthday, Mama. I can't wait for tomorrow for sushi night and a little bit of sake. So have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you back here on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will see what is going on with that. I can't remember what it's called, so I'm just going to say the Twisteroonies. We're going to figure out what's going on with the Twisteroonies. Thanks, Sharon. Sharon, check your email because I wanted to know if you wanted to do any of those. All right. I'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Judy. Have a great